In 1991, a television commercial aired that changed Philippine retail. It featured one of the country's biggest stars. It looked polished, minimalist, it looked premium. If you saw it back then, you probably assumed that it came from a global fashion brand. But it didn't. It came from a small Filipino clothing company that has been around for only 4 years. And that company was Bench. Today, Bench is one of the most recognizable lifestyle brands in the Philippines. But back then, nothing about its future was guaranteed. So why would a small clothing company spend heavily on a television commercial when even the larger local brands were not doing it? Whatever the reason was, that decision changed everything for them. I'm Fitz Villafuerte, and this is Business Untold, the stories behind the brands we know. Long before Bench became one of the Philippines' most recognizable lifestyle brands, it was simply an idea of a young entrepreneur named Ben Chan. Growing up, Chan spent much of his life around his family's business. His father was in retail, supplying products to department stores across Metro Manila. From an early age, he learned how the retail business worked, not from textbooks but by watching customers, merchants, and buyers every day. After finishing college, he joined the family business. But he wasn't interested in simply continuing what his parents had built. He wanted to create something of his own. During the 1980s, the Philippine fashion industry looked very different from today. International brands were symbols of prestige. Local clothing labels existed, but very few had strong brand identities. Most people bought clothes based on price, quality, or availability, not because they felt connected to a particular brand. Ben Chan believed there was an opportunity. He noticed that younger Filipinos were beginning to embrace casual clothing as part of their everyday lifestyle. A simple t-shirt was no longer just an undershirt. It was becoming a fashion statement. So in 1987, he launched Bench. The first store wasn't a grand boutique inside an upscale mall. It was a small concession inside SM department store. The company focused on a single product, well-designed, affordable t-shirts made for young Filipinos. It was a modest beginning. There were no celebrity endorsers, no nationwide advertising campaigns, no massive marketing budget. Just a small local clothing brand trying to earn customers one shirt at a time. The products sold well. More outlets opened, and Bench was growing steadily. But after achieving this level of success, it brought on a new challenge. In the clothing business, products are easy to imitate. A popular design can be copied. A cheaper version can appear almost overnight. If Bench wanted to become more than another apparel retailer, it needed something competitors couldn't duplicate. Ben Chan realized that competing shirt for shirt was a battle he might never win. So instead of asking, how do we make a better t-shirt? He started asking a much bigger question. How do we build a brand that people will remember? That question would lead to one of the boldest marketing decisions ever made by a local clothing company. And it would change Bench forever. In 1991, Bench did something that seemed almost unthinkable for a small local clothing brand. It produced a television commercial. Today, that doesn't sound remarkable, but more than 3 decades ago, television advertising was expensive. It was dominated by multinational brands with deep pockets. Local clothing companies simply didn't advertise that way. Bench wasn't supposed to be there, and yet, there it was. The commercial featuring Richard Gomez, one of the country's biggest stars, wearing a white Sculler t-shirt. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't loud, but it looked premium. For many viewers, it felt like an international fashion campaign. Ben Chan later admitted that it was a huge risk. The company wasn't yet an industry leader. It wasn't overflowing with resources, and spending heavily on a national television campaign could have easily backfired. But Ben Chan believed something that many entrepreneurs overlook. People judge a brand long before they judge its products. So instead of waiting until Bench became a market leader, Bench chose to look like one first. That decision changed everything. Almost overnight, people began seeing Bench differently. It was no longer just another clothing label inside a department store. It became a brand people remembered. Retailers started paying attention. Consumers became curious. Franchise inquiries increased. More importantly, Bench had begun occupying something far more valuable than shelf space. It occupied a place in people's minds. That's when the company discovered a powerful lesson. A strong brand doesn't simply reflect success. Sometimes, a strong brand creates it. Bench didn't wait until it could compete on product. It acted like a market leader first and let the business catch up. That's the defining moment of Bench's story. However, one successful commercial doesn't build an iconic brand. The challenge was repeating that success again and again and again. The success of the Scholar commercial could have been just a one-time marketing victory. But instead, Bench turned it into a system. Many companies launch a memorable advertising campaign. Very few build an entire business around a consistent brand strategy. Bench understood that advertising wasn't just about selling the next collection. It was about shaping how people felt whenever they saw the Bench name. Over the years, the company partnered with some of the biggest names in Philippine entertainment and sports. Richard Gomez was only the beginning. Generation after generation, Bench introduced new ambassadors who reflected the aspirations of young Filipinos. The faces changed, the message didn't. Bench represented confidence, style, modern Filipino living. As the years went by, the company expanded beyond television commercials. It organized the now famous Bench fashion shows, turning product launches into major cultural events. The shows attracted celebrities, athletes, musicians, and international personalities, generating publicity that extended far beyond traditional advertising. Bench wasn't just selling clothes anymore. It was creating experiences. More importantly, it was creating trust. And that trust became the company's greatest asset. Because when customers believe and trust in a brand, they're often willing to follow it into entirely new product categories. And that's exactly what Bench did. They expanded into underwear, fragrances, personal care products, accessories, footwear, even everyday essentials like alcohol-based sanitizers during the pandemic. At first glance, these products seem unrelated, but they all relied on the same competitive advantage. People were not buying a Bench fragrance because they believed Bench was the world's best perfume maker. They bought it because they already trusted the Bench name. That is the power of a strong brand. Products can be copied, factories can manufacture similar designs, competitors can lower prices, but trust takes years to build. By the early 2000s, Bench had achieved something remarkable. It had stopped competing as just another clothing company. It had become a lifestyle brand. The question now was no longer whether Bench could expand into new products. The question was whether its branding strategy could succeed beyond the Philippines. By the early 2000s, Bench was able to build one of the strongest lifestyle brands in the Philippines. And by then, the next challenge seemed obvious. Could that same brand succeed beyond the country that created it? International expansion sounds exciting, but it's also where many successful companies stumble. A winning formula at home doesn't always translate overseas. Different countries have different cultures, different fashion preferences, different buying habits. Bench understood that exporting products wasn't enough. It had to export the brand. The company began expanding into markets across Asia and the Middle East. But instead of trying to appeal to everyone immediately, Bench started with people who already knew and trusted the brand: overseas Filipinos. In places like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, many of the Bench's early stores were located near large Filipino communities. For thousands of overseas Filipino workers, walking into a Bench store wasn't just another shopping trip. It was a familiar piece of home. That gave the company something every expanding business hopes for: a loyal customer base from day one. But Bench knew it couldn't rely on Filipino customers forever. To grow, it had to become relevant to local consumers as well. So instead of simply copying what worked in Manila, the company adapted. Its core identity remained the same: casual, accessible, stylish. But its products and marketing evolved to better reflect local taste and global fashion trends. Even its celebrity strategy expanded. Back in the Philippines, Bench had already transformed celebrity endorsements into a competitive advantage. Now it took that same idea to the international stage. The company began working not only with Filipino celebrities, but also with Asian stars, international models, and just recently, Korean personalities. The goal wasn't simply to attract attention. It was to position Bench as a brand that belonged on the same stage as global fashion labels. In many ways, Bench wasn't selling a Filipino clothing brand. It was selling a cosmopolitan lifestyle with Filipino roots. That distinction mattered because international success isn't about convincing the world to become more like you. It's about finding ways to remain true to your identity while becoming relevant to entirely new audiences. And that's exactly what Bench attempted to do. For years, that strategy helped the company continue growing beyond Philippine shores. But just as Bench had learned how to compete in new markets, another challenge emerged. This one wasn't defined by geography, it was defined by technology. And that will change retail all over again. For nearly 2 decades, Bench was one of the biggest names in Philippine fashion retail. If you were shopping for casual clothes, there was a good chance Bench was on your list. Its stores were everywhere. Its advertisements were everywhere. Its celebrity endorsers were everywhere. The brand had become part of everyday Filipino life. But success attracts competition. As the Philippine retail market evolved, international brands began entering the country in greater numbers. Uniqlo, H&M, Zara, each arrived with a different value proposition. Uniqlo emphasized timeless basics, innovative fabrics, and exceptional value. H&M brought fast fashion inspired by global trends. Zara built its reputation on bringing runway-inspired designs to stores at remarkable speed. At the same time, strong local competitors like Penshop continued evolving their own brands and marketing strategies. For Filipino consumers, the choices multiplied. Bench was no longer competing in the same market when it started. It was competing in a completely different one. And then came an even bigger disruption: e-commerce. Suddenly, consumers no longer needed to visit a shopping mall to discover the latest trends. They could browse thousands of products on Shopee and Lazada. Global online retailers like Shein offered an endless stream of new designs at highly competitive prices. And social media platforms like TikTok transformed fashion discovery into an algorithm driven experience. where trends could appear and disappear in a matter of days. The rules had changed. Building a strong brand is still important, but it was no longer enough on its own. Speed mattered. Convenience mattered. Price mattered. And digital visibility became just as valuable as physical shelf space. For many millennials and Gen Z shoppers today, Bench is no longer the automatic first choice it once was. However, that doesn't diminish what the company accomplished. It simply reflects how dramatically the market has evolved. Every successful business eventually faces the same challenge. The strategy that helped you become a leader isn't always the strategy that helps you stay as one. Bench proved that a small company could build a powerful brand long before it became the biggest player in the industry. Its next challenge is a different one. Can an established brand reinvent itself for a new generation of consumers? The answer to that question is still being written. So what can entrepreneurs learn from Bench? First, perception matters. Customers often experience your brand long before they experience your product. The way people perceive your business influences whether they'll even give it a chance. Bench understood that. It invested in building credibility before it had the scale of a market leader. Second, a brand is one of the competitive advantages that cannot be copied overnight. Products can be imitated, prices can be undercut, technology eventually becomes accessible, but earning trust takes years. And that's exactly what Bench built. Third, branding creates opportunities beyond your original product. Bench started with t-shirts, but because people trusted the brand, it successfully expanded into entirely new categories. The strongest brands don't just sell products, they create permission to grow. And finally, success is never permanent. The strategy that makes you successful today may not be the strategy that keeps you successful tomorrow. Because markets change, technology changes, consumers change. The companies that endure are the ones willing to adapt before they are forced to. The story of Bench isn't really about fashion. It's about conviction. At a time when most local clothing brands were trying to look small and play it safe, Bench did the opposite. It chose to think bigger than its size. It acted like a market leader before it became one. And in doing so, it has become one of the most recognizable brands in the Philippines. Whether that same approach can carry the company into the next generation remains an open question. But its greatest lesson had already stood the test of time. Sometimes, the biggest advantage a business can build is not a better product, it's a better brand. Thank you for watching Business Untold, the stories behind the brands we know. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Next time, we'll explore the remarkable story of a company that changed the way Filipinos bought home appliances, electronics, and gadgets, only to disappear almost as quickly as it rose. I'll see you in the next story.